My name is Gray Henry. My pronouns are they, them, and I have been a part of this community for 17 years. For those of you who don't know, I am 17 years old. Camille, UUCC's Director of Youth Religious Education, and I are filling in for Rev Mandy today, who is staying home because of COVID exposure. She is not sick, but holds all of your health above her disappointment of not being here and dislike of recording sermons. Welcome to this morning, this day, and this opportunity to be together in a community in times of joy, comfort, and sometimes challenges. UUCC is a place where we come to learn more about being human. We're not here because we figured out all of life's questions or because we think we've got it right. We come here to learn more about being in a relationship together, how to listen, how to forgive, how to be vulnerable, and how to create trust and compassion for one another. Thank you for making that a priority today. Thank you for taking the time to grow and be challenged today. Your presence and participation is a precious gift. Let us move into worship, willing to be authentic with each other, honest within ourselves, and open to communication in all its forms. Camille, will you please come up and light the chalice? And will the rest of you please join me in saying the chalice lighting words on the screen? In the light of truth, of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. It is now time for our opening song, and I would like to invite Christian up to lead us for that.
Yeah, for this song, it's a round, so all of you singers are being challenged to sing independently, kind of step by step, as a kind of point you. We're gonna sing it in 3 parts. Part 1 starting, afterwards part kind of when they go through the first third of it, then you guys come in, and then afterwards this group, small section but strong section of singers definitely. Before we sing it all together once through, and then we sing it twice as a round. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Everyone, I need more volume from you guys, okay? So please, and now we're going right away through the round, but let's do the line at the end. Kind of the fourth line, or the intro. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? Building bridges between. With all of our voices and all of our visions, I reach out to you, and reach out to you. Building between our divisions, I reach out to you and reach out to me. With all of our visions and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. We'll work on that.
Pretty good for a Labor Day weekend.
And now it is time for the story for all ages. If the youth would like to come up to the front. We don't have a story today, so in the traditional sense. So all of our photos will be on the screen.
Got a bunch of youth here.
You know me. And I dropped my paper. All right. When COVID hit in March of 2020, the entire world got flipped upside down. People were trying to figure out how to stay safe while still being a part of the world, maintaining the communities they had been a part of prior to COVID, and building new communities. As COVID stretched on, Jill Novinsky, a DRE at Community Church in New York, had an idea for a youth group that would reach UU teens from any and all states across America. She designed the All 8 photography workshop, in which every week teens would take photos that reflected the different UU principles. I was lucky enough to be a part of the first workshop, and along with teens from New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Illinois, and Rhode Island. There were 6 of us in total in the first workshop, and we grew to 8 during the second run of the workshop in fall of 2022. This idea of connecting youth across the US through different kinds of art has grown, and there are ideas in the works to make this more widely available and through different kinds of art, including like theater and poetry and just all other forms of art. For our story for all ages, I wanted to take you guys through the 8 UU principles and some of the photos that we took as part of that, and a little bit about what each of us had to say about photography. And as we go through, I want you guys to look at the photos that we've taken and tell me how you think they relate to our UU principles. The first principle: we believe that each and every person is important. About photography, Milan said, "As a young photographer, I use photography as a way to express myself and share my views of the world. Because of our own individual life experiences, we can all see the same thing and yet take different things away from it. I think photography is the perfect way to share that." Looking at these 2 photos, what do you guys see that reflects the first UU principle? Any thoughts? Yes, the bottom one is opening a door to people, and that is actually into a classroom where Satoda learns. If you look at the top one, up in the back, you can see the signs that say "People Matter," and that's in a subway station in New York City. Second principle: we believe that all people should be treated fairly and kindly. I think you recognize someone from one of those photos. Yes?
I think the first one is even the cat should be treated nicely with the pet's coat.
Even the cat should be treated nicely, yes. Mm-hmm.
The bottom one is like giving each other love and care.
Giving each other love and care, yes. Extending hands to one another. Our third principle: we believe that we should accept one another and keep on learning together. Mm-hmm.
The picture on the top is accepting people who are LGBT.
Yes. All right. Fourth principle: We believe that each person must be free to search for what is true and right in life. Got a lot of photos for this one. About photography in this one, Kojo said, "Photography is a great tool for social change because it can bring new perspectives to real-life topics, also portrayed as an art form." Any thoughts? Adults, you can chime in too. Hmm?
The photos are fantastic. They are beautiful.
I think this one shows that there are so many different things in the pictures. There are so many different ways that we can search for truth.
Yes. Pulling back curtains, quiet contemplation. Our fifth principle. We believe that all persons should have a vote about the things that concern them. This one might be a little straightforward.
Chess is fun.
Chess is very fun.
I think the chess one is about making choices that will impact the future in a good way.
Making choices that impact the future. And there are also so many, there's not just a yes-no way to play chess. There's all sorts of different pieces involved. Our sixth principle. We believe in working for a peaceful, fair, and free world. Mhm.
It looks like that one that has like this statue and memorial or whatever is like them having fun and doing what they want, so they're like free.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of people leaning on one another and enjoying their time together and building a brighter world. Our seventh principle. We believe in caring for our planet Earth, the home we share with all living things. We've got 3 different ways to look at this. We have the Earth, we have the sky, and then we have a highway. Mhm.
The highway one is that we're being like taking over the earth. We aren't leaving very much room for the animals. And then that one is like we're polluting the trash too much and stuff.
Mhm.
And that one with the clouds must be like it helps the world helps make things that are beautiful.
The world definitely does. It's beautiful. And our last principle. We believe in dismantling racism in ourselves and our institutions. Mhm.
That one right there, that's the biggest. It looks like that. People are making new friends together and having fun.
Making new friends together. Mhm.
I think the one on the right was black and white because it shows that everyone is equal. So you can't see what color skin they have, but they're still equal.
Any other last thoughts about this one or any of the photographs so far? 'Cause this is our last one. All right. Well, this was taken as part of a photography workshop, still a part of UU, Youth Education, and now you guys get to go down to your own religious education classes in the downstairs. So let's sing our children on their way.
Blessed is the is now time for our candle lighting. So as you feel led, please come up to the front to light a candle to represent what's on your heart. Whatever you feel moved to do, we hold you in our beloved community. Gray and I will help you light candles. For all of the joys and concerns that were not. And now a blessing for our candles. This is Let Us Make This Earth a Heaven by Tess Baumgardner. Let us make this earth a heaven, right here, right now. Who knows what existence's death will bring? Let us create a heaven here on earth, where love and truth and justice reign. Let us welcome all at our pearly gates, our freedom table, amid singing and great rejoicing with all our lovely colors, straight, gay, transgender, bisexual, and all the ways of loving each other's bodies, young, old, fat, thin, variously abled, gentle, cranky, joyous, sorrowing. Let no one feel excluded. Let no one feel alone. May the rich let loose their wealth to reign upon the poor. May the poor share their riches with those too used to money. May we come to venerate the earth, our mother, and tend her with wisdom and compassion. May we make our earth an Eden, a paradise. May no one wish to leave her. May hate and warfare cease to clash in causes too old and tired to name: religion, nationalism, the false god of gold, deep-rooted ethnic hatreds. May these all disperse and wane. May we see each other's true selves. May we all dwell together in peace and joy and understanding. Let us make heaven here on earth before it's too late. Let us make this earth a heaven for each other's sakes. So before Rev Mandy is going to give her homily today, I'm going to kind of do a little meditation with you all to get you in the spirit of what she would like to share with you. So I want you to look at these three pictures. And as you're looking at them, I'm going to speak a little bit to the idea of citizenship. So around the world, people are experiencing a societal shift from consumerism to citizenship. And as a congregation, today we are going to explore this idea and seek to understand how we can act as citizens in this community and how we are already acting as citizens. So the citizen is an idea that brings with it the freedom not just to choose between the options offered to us, but also to play an active, creative role in shaping what those options are. As members of this church, we have collective power and agency to create a vision of how we want our church to look and feel. So, with that in mind, I'd like you to look at these three pictures. What do you see? What stands out to you? You can share.
You did it, so can you.
It makes me think of the saying, every man a king,
Okay.
and how that came about was going from there being a monarchy to every man a king doesn't mean we are citizens, we are consumers.
I see a story of building community, where we are lesser than, where we are still lesser than due to capitalism, the have and the have-nots, to where we build community with mutual aid and understanding of each other.
Yes. Kind of that idea of equality rather than everything is equity versus equality. Thank you. I had the wrong words, but that idea of not everything's equal, but everyone has equity. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Thank you. And so, like, maybe somebody needs a stepladder to see over the fence, you know? And so how can we all support one another in experiencing heaven on earth?
We can take away the fence.
Right, we can take away the fence. So how are these pictures different? How are they different from one another?
Well, the guy on the left probably got a whole lot more money invested in his hat than the guy.
Yeah, I think you're right. A difference in wealth, for sure.
The frivolity of wealth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still wondering how that
So I guess wouldn't you say the pictures on the left are of two single people, and the picture on the right is of many?
Yeah. So the idea that subject to consumer, it's maybe an individual to an individual, whereas Being a citizen is everyone thinking about everyone.
Can you read that sign, Steve? Second.
It says, we are skipping on lessons to teach you. I think this is a,
The climate change walk.
oh, we are skipping our lessons to teach you. So it's a climate change walk where kids are skipping class. They're skipping their lessons to teach adults about climate change. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to let you look at these words. All right, so we have subject, consumer, citizen. I'm going to give you a moment to look and ponder about the words in each column, and also how do the words read if you read them across. I'm going to read a few across. Duty, rights, purpose, religious, material, spiritual. Receive, choose, create. Hierarchy, bureaucracy, network.
Well, I see the subject is kind of how the ruling class wants it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much kind of how it is. The consumer is this thinly veiled concept of choice and idea, but you really don't.
Sure, it's created for you. What do you
Yeah.
think? We think you'll buy this, so
Right.
we want to push this on you.
Put it in a certain color and a
Mhm.
certain label, and you're going to do this. And if it doesn't serve well, then we're going to tweak it and make you buy it.
Sure.
Right? And then the citizen, those are what we strive to be.
Mm. Do we strive to be those as you use, or do we strive to be those as a collective, as including those who aren't UUs?
Yes. Yeah. I think that UU in itself is a community, and that we do within the congregation strive for the citizen side. But I think that as UUs, we also see it as a duty to create that community outside of our church.
Yeah. To bring the church and citizenship and these values to people who might not have access to us. To take down the fence. All right. Without further ado, here is Rev Mandy and Andre, and I'll let her share.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Reverend Mandy Goheen. My pronouns are she, her, and welcome to my video for the morning. What's your name?
I'm Andre Goheen. I am spouse of Reverend Mandy.
Well, and we are in quarantine because we live in a day where we are citizens of a COVID era. And what does it mean to be citizens of a COVID era? What does it mean to be citizens of the world as it is today? It means that we adapt and move and change to take the best care of each other we can. When I first learned about what true citizenship meant, it was when I was working as a volunteer in Woodbridge, Virginia, community organizing for a group called Voice. Virginians Organized for Interfaith Community Engagement. And it really changed me in ways that led to this very moment in ministry. And there was someone else there when that was happening. Do you have any thoughts about what the changes were in me by participating in being a citizen and community organizing?
Yeah, I think that what I saw as changes from you during that time was really just a blossoming of your confidence and your involvement in the greater area, the greater community in that Woodbridge area, and really saw some passion, I think, from you.
And joy.
And joy.
And then understanding that things could change if we focused on what we were good at. And I want to talk about that citizens focus on what we're good at. And I want to say that there's a place in Chattanooga called Peach Cobbler Factory. Is that true? Or just Peach Cobbler?
That's something,
Yeah. It's on MLK Boulevard, and it is a place that serves peach cobbler because that's what it does really well. And the first time I noticed that place was during the MLK parade. And it wasn't that I noticed the sign, it was that I noticed the smell. And so in noticing that smell at the Peach Cobbler place on MLK, I kept thinking about it and wondering what that was like. And so last week I went. And they were really the perfect example of having a clear vision and mission and doing what they did well. So Peach Cobbler is basically what they have, but they have all kinds of cobblers. And they only limit it to things that are focused on cobbler. So in Unitarian Universalism, in relationship to the principles that we just witnessed from Gray's amazing photography project, those are the things that we're good at. Those are the things we agree on and take into the world. And one of the most fundamental elements of that is the democratic process, but not in a, it's civics, but it's spiritual at the same time. It's because we are a people of hope and faith that the future can change. And the other thing I learned about changing the future from community organizing was that money had a lot of power, but organized people who had a focused vision and mission had a power together that could make real change in the world. Do you remember any of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember specifically. I remember going to visit with Jamie Dimon and
Jamie Dimon was the CEO of Chase, maybe? Yeah,
I think so, Chase. And holding them accountable and making them understand that they needed to
reinvest in the community.
Right.
Yeah, the community had been blighted by the mortgage crisis, and there had been bad mortgages. And Bank of America, Chase, and Wells Fargo all had responsibilities for what was going wrong in our community. And because there was this power of citizenship, it wasn't just that I was there representing, it was that I represented all the people. And it wasn't based on what I wanted, it was based on our shared self-interest. And our shared self-interest was getting reinvestment in the neighborhood and taking care of property values. We all believed a lot of divergent things even, we were on the opposite side of the street at pro-life, pro-choice things. And we were not on the same page as far as religious beliefs, but we all had hope and a commitment to our congregations as citizens, and it really made a difference. What do you think a citizen is?
I think that a citizen is someone who is part of a community and who participates in that community.
So that is the difference between a citizen and a consumer, and we're in this world as it is right now, we are in a shift from the 1980s being the height of the consumer movement to now where that form of pure consumer capitalism is starting to disintegrate, and the world is moving into something different. The world is moving into the citizenship model if we're to survive. And the citizenship model is a participatory, joyful thing that we do because we have faith and hope in the future, and we aren't waiting for some big heaven that's coming. We believe in it. This is as good as it's gonna get, so we better make it great. Citizenship in church means that there's been a shift from churches that serve people and people come and pay a price for specific thing. It's not that all of the people in the church are purely consumers. It's a combination, actually, because we can't ever move completely out of the consumer model, because if we did, we wouldn't be able to take care of people who need us. There are times in our lives when we need to be consumers. We need to be there and just sit in our community and rest in the love and compassion and relationships that are necessary to heal. And that's what makes Unitarian Universalism a faith of hope and a place that I think can really change Chattanooga. Because as we talk about the decline in churches, in the past, it wasn't Unitarian Universalism. It was the other churches that were in decline. And now we're falling into that same category, with the exception of the good news. Haha, gospel. The good news is that because we understand being citizens so well in specific churches like the Unitarian Universalist Church of Chattanooga, that is focused on something called shared ministry, we are in a space of launching into a new era there. We're in a space where it's possible, and it's partially possible because of all the hard things we've gone through together and how resilient we are. You look like you're thinking, no?
I am. I was just wondering what you think that looks like, where we're going.
Well, I'm already seeing it. Where we're going is, it is a simplified model where everybody's working. I think the biggest evidence that we're in the shift towards citizenship is our board this year. And we have this board of people who don't want to just sit and make decisions, but participate. And that's been a growing culture at UUCC. You can see it in past boards where, you know, events were part of the board members' responsibilities, or the thing they did to be joyful in our community, and building community has been a focal point. And now we're getting to a more refined era where we're starting to ask the question, what is it that we do really well, and how do we move into it? And it's gearing us up for the visioning work that we're doing this year. And I'll tell you what, it is exciting. It's a little scary, but it's a time in the world where we have to look at money very differently, and we have to look at who the church is and who we are as individuals. And then those individuals are in citizenship together. Does that kind of answer your question?
I think so, yeah.
Citizenship at church is a spiritual practice. Because when we practice being together in that loving, caring, compassionate, serving together, not serving someone who we think we're better than, but all working together and building our power as caring and loving individuals, it shows when we go to work. It shows when we go to the dog park or the farmer's market or the grocery store. And one of the ways it shows is that we're thoughtful consumers, and we're moving into a time of being thoughtful about what we consume and how we spend our money. And what if how we spent our money was partially part of our spiritual practice? Do you think of any examples of that? Like where?
Well, I mean, like here at our house, we've eliminated paper plates, we've eliminated paper towels, we've got kitchen towels, bar rags that we use for paper towels now. We have cloth napkins. I think that's our biggest recent shift.
Is that comfortable all the time?
No, it's not.
Is everything that we want to clean up something we want to clean up with a nice cloth that we wash?
It's not, and a lot of times most of the cloths are dirty. I haven't washed them in the washing machine yet.
So it isn't that this move into citizenship is easy. It takes some extra effort and new habits. But I think at the end of the day, like, why were we doing it? Why do you soak the bar cloths and wash them and do all that? Why is that important?
I just want to do my part to help, like, reduce environmental impacts that we have.
And it's okay that it's a little bit of a pain in the rear.
It is.
Okay.
It's worth it.
I think that's true, and I think that that's like a very simplified example of citizenship versus consumer, because consumer uses up our resources without being thoughtful about replenishing them. And that's another way to look at finances and money. And with that, we're going to make a transition. So I want you to think about citizenship and what it means to be a citizen of Unitarian Universalism, a citizen who has some guiding principles, a citizen to each other, whoever's in the room today. I wish it was us. And being thoughtful about sometimes just a little bit of discomfort goes a long way in helping the world. And that discomfort is spiritual practice sometimes. It's a drudge, but it's worth it in the long haul. So yeah, think about being a citizen and how that's different than just being a consumer in the world. Which brings me to my all-time most maybe awkward transition into the offertory. You know, I like an awkward transition into the offertory. But as you think about giving today, think about that citizen model. And in our citizen model, there are people with more privilege. There are people with less privilege. There are people who need to consume. There are people who just showed up today. Hey, hi, you're a citizen today too. Just because you're here, we're so glad you're learning about Unitarian Universalist citizenship. We're so glad that we're in a community where we come from such divergent backgrounds that we can give different amounts, and all of those amounts are meaningful. And so as you think about how much you give today, remember that you can give online and text and all those fancy things, or go to our website to give. But also remember that if you're a little more comfortable than you're comfortable with today, maybe you give a little extra. If you have a hard week and you're not feeling it, let that plate slide by you. But no matter what you give or how you give, let it be to the future of not just UUCC, but how it moves out into the world. How we're going to have this fabulous, interesting new year of deconstructing church, which includes your minister sitting on the porch, and how these conversations about what it means to be a citizen can help us grow and nurture our faith. May it be so, and the offering will be gratefully received.
It is now time for our social justice moment, and I'd like to invite M. Wagner up to share. See the mic right there?
Morning, y'all. My name is M. Wagner, and my pronouns are she and they. You guys know that if I have the mic, I'm going to be talking about mass incarceration. This essay is part of Brennan Carter's series examining the punitive excess that has come to define America's criminal legal system. While combating the worst wildfires in its history, California enlisted the help of nearly 2,000 imprisoned people to serve as firefighters. Professionally trained and serving in the same way as other seasonal firefighters, many of them worked long hours on the front lines clearing tinder brush and trees with chainsaws and hand tools to halt the flames. But until a recent change in a long-standing law, this firefighting experience would have had precisely zero utility for most of these people after their release from prison. As criminal offenders, they would have been barred for life from becoming licensed emergency responders. And the people of California would have been deprived of their experience, their skill, and their bravery. The law has finally changed, but that made only the tiniest dent in the forbidding edifice of more than 45,000 state and local laws and regulations that have profound ramifications for American society, the social exclusion that arises from the collateral consequences of mass incarceration. Roughly 600,000 people leave prisons every year hoping that their punishment has ended, only to encounter a combination of laws, rules, and biases forming barriers that block them from jobs, housing, and fundamental participation in our political, economic, and cultural life. These collateral consequences powerfully illustrate the excessively retributive nature of American criminal justice, from inability to acquire a driver's license and thus the inability to drive to work, to limits on access to college or even military service. They serve to remind people with criminal records of their permanent status as other. Truly ending mass incarceration will require eliminating these consequences as well, ensuring that we welcome people with a criminal record back into society and, ultimately, shifting our criminal justice paradigm away from retribution and towards restoration. As Jeremy Travis notes, in the modern, developed welfare state of the 20th century, the collateral consequences faced by the formerly imprisoned Americans amount to a variant of the anachronistic tradition of civil death, in which returning citizens are defined as unworthy of the benefits of society and are excluded from the social compact.
Thank you, Em. We are now going to have our closing song, and I'm going to turn it over to Christian and Layla.
Good morning, everybody, again. So for the closing song, Mandy selected the perfect song, Lean on Me. I don't know how many products have been advertised and sold with the song Lean on Me as for good consumerism. When you think about it, everybody recognizes it's all about the citizenship and the community and being there for each other. So thanks to Bill Withers, who kind of wrote the lyrics and the music to this song. So we're gonna sing that together. Here's what I'm gonna challenge you guys. And unfortunately, you've been now consumer of this church service so far, kind of sitting in your pews. So what I would recommend is that you maybe move closer to somebody. I mean, you can physically lean on to somebody. Some people might want to have a little bit of distance, but kind of huddle a little bit closer around with each other as we sing this song. Stand up, please. Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. But if we are wise, we know that there
Oh. So this is the time in our service for the So What? I'm going to share some words from Ed Chambers, and it is from Roots to Radicals. And this is what it says. Living out our religious and democratic values requires that public life be part of our citizenship and mission. Our politicalness has to be something we work at, interact with others about, and keep centered in and around the issues and values that we feel are important. People who understood the vocation of politics built this country. That's how hospitals and colleges and universities were started by religious institutions. That's how the local city Democratic Party got started, by building on the fabric of parishes and congregations that were already organized. If social efforts aren't consistently organized, and if people don't see that they have an ongoing mission and vocation to participate in public life, to be a neighbor, to enter into arrangements of power with people across racial, religious, and class lines, and to welcome the differences, politics dies. I would like to invite Gray up to extinguish the chalice. And if you will please say with me the chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but keep the light of truth, the warmth of this community, the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. It is now time for announcements. And I'd like to invite our board representative for today, Christian Horvath, up to share those.
I'm not going to do all the announcements singing, don't worry. But as I just learned this morning, we have at least one birthday child this morning among us, Layla. So in this case, let's see how good you guys are. Happy birthday to you. That's really wrong. I don't like it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Layla. Happy birthday to you. That's when you don't practice. Anyways, so announcements for today. Maybe you can see some, and I can mention some. It might be a little bit difficult to see, but first, anybody with special announcements?
Good morning. My name is Farron Cloyd. I'm the office administrator here if you haven't seen me yet. I just have a couple of quick announcements. The first one is that our new office hours are in effect this week. If you were here last week, I announced those, but I'll give you that again. The office will now be open on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 11 to 6. That gives you guys plenty of time to run by, like on lunch breaks, after work, things like that. And on Sundays, we'll be open from 9:30 to 12:30, just as usual. These hours are updated on our Facebook page if you're ever confused, and they will be updated on the website this week as well. The next announcement I have is that next Sunday is going to be in-gathering, so be sure to bring your water to add to the communal bowl. For those of y'all who don't know what in-gathering is, this is an annual UU tradition. UUs across the world will bring their water together and gather it in the communal bowl. This symbolizes the gathered love of UUCC, and will be mixed with water of previous years. If you happen to forget your water on Sunday, we will have extras for you, so don't worry. As part of the in-gathering service, we are going to put together a collection of reflection photos in the slideshow. So if you have any cool photos of reflections on water, things like that, feel free to submit those to the office by email by Wednesday for those to be included. And that's office@uucc.org. And that's all I've got.
Thank you, Farron. Judy?
Hello, Judy Gallagher, member of the board and co-chair of Social Justice Committee. This doesn't seem like it's on, maybe it is. The Social Justice Committee has many things in the works, but one of the very important ones coming up, October 8th, is our presence at the Pride Festival. We've got materials, we've got little votive candles that we're gonna sell, but we need someone who will step up and say, I will coordinate that day. I'm out of the country that day personally. A lot of people are traveling. But so if anyone could see me, all that you have to do is just say, I'll make sure the materials get there, the table gets set up, and I'll help seek volunteers between now and then to staff the table. That's basically what we need, that kind of coordinator. Materials are all ready to go. So if someone would step up and do that, see me after the service. Thank you.
Hey, Judy, since you're already up there, can you do something on the rubber sale, please?
Leslie Brock, thank you, has agreed to organize a rummage sale again. It'll be October 21st. So please start saving things you would normally take to Goodwill or whatever you would do to get rid of it, things that you could dispose of in your house and make your house a little less cluttered. Save it for us. October 15th will be the Sunday after service that you can start bringing those items to the church, so that day you can bring it, and then we'll have a schedule of drop-off through the evenings the week leading up to October 21st. So start cleaning out your closets.
Bill?
Good morning. Last Sunday, we collected a bunch of food, and I want to let you know that we delivered 169 pounds of food, which is a lot. So thank you all for your food contributions.
Thank you, Bill. Any other special announcements? Then otherwise, yeah, just three things that I want to point out on the back of your bulletin is that's for everybody. For Monday at 4:30, standing out Chattanooga at Miller Park. No. Not this week, it's Labor Day. Not this. Tomorrow's Labor Day. Thank you. So disregard this. Second, Wednesday, the coffee hour, I think it will still take place. Cecilina's in Austria, but for the rest, please still kind of join here. And this coming Sunday, the World Religions Discussion Group meeting again at 9:15. So with that in mind, maybe to kind of one last thing. Jen was working really hard out there kind of for a coffee fellowship with lots of goodies. Take a moment, stop by, find somebody to lean on and talk to somebody and kind of be a good citizen. With being a good citizen, the service ends and your service to this community continues.